Hello and welcome to another tutorial video. In this video I'm going over another writing exercise 7, sensory details in writing, sound. I'm going to go over quickly what sensory details are. Sensory details are descriptions that uses the 5 senses, sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch to add depth in writing and evoke readers' imagination. Sound is the audible sense of what someone listens to or hears. I have some key points again, the first being to practice writing each of the 5 senses individually. As I mentioned in the previous videos, you can do the same thing with the sense of sound in order to strengthen that particular sense in your writing. The next key point is to use onomatopoeia to your advantage in describing sounds. The third key point is to know the difference between pitch, volume, and tone. The fourth key point is to consider using voice or music in your scenes. And finally, to show the sense of sound by your characters' physical reactions or responses through their dialogue. Below here, I have a chart of words that indicate sound. In the first column, I go over volume. Volume measures how loud or soft something sounds and is related to the intensity or strength of sounds. In the next column, I have pitch. Pitch measures how high or low something sounds and is related to the frequency of sound waves or how far sounds travel. So that is the difference between volume and pitch, even though sometimes people see them as the same thing, but really these two are actually two different things. In the third column, I have tone. When we're discussing tone when it comes to writing, tone is actually the mood a piece of writing implies by the author's word choice or the way text or writing makes readers feel. So that is what tone is when it comes to writing. In the fourth column, I have voice. Voice can give your scene sound by expressing your writing voice and by distinguishing between characters' voices and their accents. Every writer has their own type of writing voice or writing style. So that's a particular way that writers can add voice to their writing. Some writers, their writing is more flowery than others, meaning they're more descriptive, while others, their writing is more, concise, but that is one way that writers can add voice by having their particular writing voice within their story. Another good thing is just being able to distinguish between your characters' different voices or accents. Like maybe some of your characters are from different countries, or maybe some of them use slang, for example, or from the South, such as my character, Mrs. Robin Savage, who's originally from Atlanta, Georgia, so I include her accent, in different words that she uses, from the South to distinguish her voice. But that is just some ways that you can use voice to show the sense of sound. In the next column, I have music. You can describe music in your scenes such as well-known songs. The thing about it is, when it comes to more current songs, for example, you may actually need special permission due to the lyrics being copywritten. But if it's songs that are old or more traditional, such as Amazing Grace, you may not actually need to go through all of that trouble as far as copyright. But that's just something to keep in mind if you're going to actually write out the lyrics of songs within your stories. Another way you can have music in your stories is by singing tones, such as alto, soprano. Maybe someone is actually singing in a scene. I have a lot of choir and singing scenes within my Hallelujah Praise trilogy series that I include inside of my books. So that's something else that you can use to add music or the sense of sound. And finally, just different styles or genres of music, such as gospel, blues, jazz, classical, etc. You can include different types of music styles or songs within those genres to show the sense of sound. In the next column, I have onomatopoeia, which are words associated with certain people or objects. Below here, I just have some examples of onomatopoeia, such as meow for a cat or kitten, bark for a dog, crash for a car accident or breaking glass, kapow for a gunshot, boom for an explosion or object hitting something, ding dong for a doorbell, and swish for like a basketball going through a hoop net. All of these are just some examples of onomatopoeia, and something that I would actually like to include in my writing more, instead of just showing the sense of sound through the actual narrative of the story. It can really be a good way to show the sense of sound by using onomatopoeia in your descriptions. And finally, just to show the sense of sound by your characters' physical reactions or responses through their dialogue. I took a passage from chapter 3 of my debut novel, Eva's Promise, and just highlighted a lot of the different words within this passage that indicate sound and bolded them. But I'm going to read through this passage really quickly. Andre's smile dropped as he looked up from his phone again. In the burst of lightning, a deer leaped in front of his vehicle in the middle of the street. He gasped and stomped on his brake, his heart pounding against his ribcage. His tires squealed, sliding into the white-tailed animal. Ah! Andre closed his eyes tightly, gripped the wheel, and braced himself for the collision. There was a hefty thump of an impact. The deer smashed through the windshield and knocked Andre in his head. Shattered glass flew inside the car's interior. He slumped over in his seat and lost control of the wheel. The car swerved and scraped against the metal guardrail. Sparks sputtered from the railing as the car screeched off the road and crashed into a neighbor's front yard tree. So, that is just an example of showing the sense of sound based on my word choices, because that is something that really can help show the sense of sound. How you actually select your word choices. So we have gasped here and stomped, his heart pounding, tires squealed, him yelling out, ah, a hefty thump when he hit the deer smashing the windshield and knocking him in his head, the car swerving and scraping against the metal guardrail, sparks sputtering from the railing, and the car screeching off the road and crashing into a neighbor's front yard tree. So, all of those different things indicate the sense of sound within this passage. But that is all that I have for this video. I hope it was helpful. It was a little bit more to go through than some of the other senses, but I hope it was helpful. Stay tuned for the last one for the sense of touch, and thank you for watching.